Coming at you from New Jersey, the capital of misery, and the place where metal forgot to die. This is the Here Lies Metal Too Many Notes New Music Review, the only show where we review the metal bands you've never heard of. Once again, I am Al Dictus.
And I'm Samantha.
And we shall be your overlords for today and for the rest of the world until the asteroid hits. Welcome.
Hopefully soon.
Soon. Scheduled. So, this is, what are we doing here?
We are reviewing the new album from Siege Column, Darkside Legions.
Mm-hmm.
Siege Column is a death metal band from New Jersey.
Let's go into that.
They're right here.
Do-do-do-do.
And they've been active since 2016. They are a two-man band featuring members Sean Slaughtercult, guitars, vocals, bass, Joe Adversario, guitars, vocals,
That's probably
drums.
his real name, Joe Adversario.
I mean, if he made it up, I don't know what the point was, but
Well, it kind of sounds... Oh, go ahead.
They're featured in a number of New Jersey acts, notably, or maybe not notably, I think this is their most notable band, DSS, which was we saw them live on the last concert that we'll ever see in our lives.
We weren't expecting to see them, but we did.
Well, they opened. So, you know.
Nobody expects DSS.
We've had a close encounter with these guys.
Yeah.
But we are here today to talk about their release, Darkside Legions. It is their second album, and it is out on Nuclear War Now Productions. Good job, guys. That's
a subsidiary of Nuclear Blast. I'm kidding. It's not.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
So, genre-wise, Metal Archives has these guys as death metal, and I would say that's largely true. They blend kind of grindcore with, I'd say, like a D-beat thrash kind of.
What is D-beat?
You know, it's the Discharge beat.
Oh, is that what it's just?
Oh, okay. My God.
Is that just the Discharge is responsible for that? They
yes, it's named after them. Okay, and some more like approachable, like riffy bass death metal, kind of like a bolt thrower vibe, kind of groovy. And yeah, and they have thrash there, but it's all blended together kind of naturally and sounds organic and like whole. It's got a very caveman sound, even though they have a couple synths in there, but still very caveman. And it definitely alternates between those like grindy sections of death metal with the more catchier, punky D-beat stuff. And sometimes it's not even afraid to go down tempo. Closing track, Buried in Lava, kind of slow, contemplative. But yeah, so it's definitely in the genre of death metal, but they've got it's a little proprietary blend, I would say. What do you think, Maldic?
Yeah, they have like their themes of their their songs are very like almost like parody of metal. So it's almost like a metal parody, their themes. They're, it's like those are like what metal songs should have been called in like 1982. But that's always fun. Like Buried in Lava. Like this, like being buried in lava just isn't a threat anymore in real life, is it? Not for the most part, unless you live like under the volcano in Hawaii.
There
or
are
something.
lots of people living by volcanoes.
Yeah, you're in Hawaii or something. But otherwise, right. For most of us, I just thought that was funny. Anyway, I was unaware of this band, being like, I guess, in the music in New Jersey, I guess, if you want to call me. But yeah, I was completely unaware of these guys. They're from another part of it. Obviously they're from South Jersey. So that is a completely different world. That's the South. South Jersey is the South. It's a different thing. So we don't really know what goes on down there at all. And we don't go down there. Jersey's one of the smallest states in the Union. However, like going to South Jersey, it takes days. It
does not take days.
It takes literally days to get down there. So
whenever concerts start back up and I hear of a concert happening with these guys in South Jersey in some little bar we've never heard of, I will go. I will go.
That's a tall order.
I will take the day's journey.
That's a tall order. Just you guys are gonna come up here. Anyway, so but I always like I'm pretty harsh on New Jersey bands, because I guess I'm in one of them, so I'm never like kind to New Jersey bands. I'm like, they're from New Jersey, they're probably terrible, because I just never really think of the state as having like a scene really anymore because it seems just so depressed to me. Like there's no.
These guys are a scene, okay?
I have to say so.
They've got a clan. They're in multiple bands with them and other people kind of rotating in and out. So
okay, well,
we should tune in.
Oh yeah, it's South Jersey. It's
New
a
Jersey.
tall order, man. However, Darkside Legions is rather. It's a very dynamic album, and it's kind of very blue collar, like in New Jersey tradition. Like I find it very blue collar. This album, it's like the Bruce Springsteen of death metal. That's a strong word, but
that's very strong. I don't
yeah,
know about that.
when people think of New Jersey, they like to just think about Bruce Springsteen or like Bon Jovi or something for some reason. I don't know. It's like, oh yeah, you're New Jersey from New Jersey, yeah, Bon Jovi, right? And I'm like, yeah, totally, Bon Jovi, absolutely. But I think of I like the fact that they're a 2-man album. I think more musicians need to.
I mean, that's what's listed on the archives. I do not know
I see 2 people.
if that's accurate.
I see 2 people there on the page.
That I said on the archives. Yeah. There is live footage you can find of them playing with other people.
Yeah.
Also in their little clan down there.
Yes.
But I don't know if they're just the creative people behind it and they have their friends come and play live. Or if this is actually, who knows? I don't know.
That's the best way to do it, though. Like
these guys seem like they're not going to be fastidious about updating their metal archives.
No. We never know.
I'll just say that.
But I like the fact that there were 2 men. If they could just do their work and get their work done in the studio, and not have to deal with all these other chefs in the stew, and they could get it done. And then when they play, like, all right, this is what you play. All right, do not deviate from that. Like, if you could get competent musicians that could do that, then I think you're okay. I think it's a good start instead of just having all these people just kind of tearing at the band, like one of those things where they put you on they have 4 horses, they quarter you, I guess. Quarter, yeah,
drawn and quartered.
Like this band won't be drawing you. There's 2 powers in this. There's John and Paul, there's James and Lars, and they're you guys are in charge of this band, and I think it's the right idea. I think more bands should really just do the DIY thing. DIY.
You said it right.
I said it right. Yay! I think it's an efficient way to make music because we don't need a lot of things anymore. We have everything. We could do everything at home. So I like what they're doing. Anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on to our listenability scales: Sonic Terror, how terrorizing is it? And our Fisher Price High Production, what's the production values? Maledictus?
Well, Sonic Terror-wise, it's kind of terrifying. That doesn't mean it's terrible. It's terrifying. That's different. That's generally a good thing when you're in metal, am I right? We give it a 2 here for it's on the 2 side of the scale. It's on the left side of the scale, which means it's kind of sonic terrorizing, as opposed to pleasantly sounding. But you guys probably, I imagine you did that on purpose. I imagine you weren't, trying to make music that was, but and production value. It's this is very done in the house in the basement. If that's untrue, comment down below, you guys, if you hear this review. But for me it's very we'll talk about it. I noticed looking at the metal archives, all of your songs have the explicit thing on it. I didn't think they even bothered with that under metal archives. It's like, what's the point? It's like, what's the point of putting that? Like, what is it? What is the point? Yeah, was it on Spotify? Or I think it was on Metal. Maybe it was on Spotify. Well, it's probably on Spotify. But what's the point of doing that today? It seems like this thing of the 90s. Anyway, but how can you put an explicit label on your lyrics if you don't have, like, there is no audible words in your lyrics? And I'm sure you want it that way, but how can they be explicit if you're going like you have no words there?
I mean, you can just make an educated guess that he's probably saying something explicit.
They're assuming. What if he's saying nice things about puppy dogs? Like, and you assume they're explicit.
His name is Sean Slaughter.
Okay, but you never know.
Our Skull Crusher.
I just,
sorry.
Like these are probably explicit. Like, how do you know? Have you heard the lyrics? Have you read? I know you guys didn't read the lyrics. There's no way the Spotify people read the lyrics. There's no way. So anyway, but as for this is like less than a full band production. So it's like, it's not prioritizing perfect recording, like I said before, which is fine in this case. I prefer this DIY sound rather than, like, this pro recording studio sound, which I think is just overrated. I want more bands to sound like you guys. I said before, the music is complete sonic terror, and it's not trying too hard. It's not trying too hard to be something. It's just very home down and blue collar, like I said. And believe it or not, there's a lot of besides the sonic terror, there's a lot of really normie riffs. That doesn't mean a bad thing. In between your blasts, when occasionally, they won't be ridiculously complicated. Doing some crazy modal scale thing. It's just you're just really normal riffs in between your blasts. So I was like, that's that makes it less sonic terror a little bit, right? And these songs also give us some steady beats and some grooves in between those blasts too. There's a little bit of relief for someone that doesn't want to be sonically terrorized. So these guys are they're human beings, okay? They have feelings, okay?
Maybe.
And I think they do. But the entire mix, talking about the sonic quality, the entire mix, it sounds very unclear and muffled. And that's a virtue in your case. I think you wanted it to be that way. It works for this kind of music. But I'm thinking they should make an EQ setting of however you guys got that sound. That should be available on all home stereos, those stereos that have digital EQ presets or anything, or musical equipment that has digital EQ presets. They should make the siege column setting, EQ setting, to give you that. It's very there's a lot of just lows in there, and the highs are kind of all. It's kind of maybe a slope this way, maybe here's the high, the lows, and it kind of goes like that. I don't know. I'm not an EQ scientist, but that's what it sounds like to me. But guys, if you watch this, how much of this was tracked and how much of it was live? I mean, obviously there's only two of you, so some of it has to be tracked if you put a bass in there or whatever.
It sounds live.
Yeah, it sounds live, but it wouldn't be possible if it's only two of you. You maybe did drums and guitar or bass at the same time. I don't know, but let me know if you guys watch this. Seriously, comment down below. Give us some insight.
But yes, I agree. Production is very noisy. It's very clangy, very retro, very old, very basic. It's it's so noisy. It doesn't even sound like drums anymore. It sounds like he's hitting a can or I don't know, a loud box.
Yeah, but the drums aren't tracked. They're probably just there's a microphone over that, right? I'm thinking. Comment down below, guys.
I don't know. I'm not a recording person, but but yeah, this is a terrifying record. It's oppressive, but the catchy riffs and the drumming keep it from being completely unlistenable. Check out In the Stolen Tomb. It's got melodic guitar lines. It's got groovy riffs. And Funeral Fiend, the guitar work on that is very catchy. On the other hand, if you don't like catchy, they've got you covered there too. If you want to just hear terrifying noises echoing in a dark cave, try the track Snakeskin Mask. The vocals, death metal vocal, very fuzzy and guttural. I'm not even sure if they're lyrics so much as just grunting, and it almost seems like he was writing lyrics and he didn't finish by the time it came to record, so he just started grunting as a placeholder and never replaced it or finished it.
Not against the law.
I mean, that's fine. I'm just saying that's what it sounded like to me, and it happens a lot. Maybe overuses it a little bit. But yeah.
Stop calling his lyrics explicit if he's going to do that. He's
just grunting, but yeah.
Yeah.
I would say for this, the production, it sounds like you're listening to a concert that's happening in the next building.
Well, yeah, it's in the Meat Locker, which you guys have probably been to the Meat Locker. Let us know. I feel like you guys are a Meat Locker kind of band. If you're outside the Meat Locker, you're walking by and you're just coming from downstairs, and you're like, maybe I should call the police. That's what it sounds.
And now you can have that experience in your living room.
Yeah. Yeah. So. You can have that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to comment on the title Snakeskin Mask. That sounds like a Slayer song that would be done by Pantera or something, right? It's like Slayer made it to a redneck
that's an
song.
Insult.
Right? I don't mean I'm not. Like Sam told me before, there is no need for Pantera in the modern world, which is so true.
Society has progressed.
We have. It's so true. Anyway, so I'm gonna read this next part. So next category is the musicality. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? Musicality, how musical it is. I don't know. Too many notes. Verse is
enough notes.
Enough notes. right? So you guys fell in. It's like I'm talking to them. I'm like, you guys, these guys.
We get very personal here.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, I shouldn't be talking. I should be talking to the world, not you guys. I feel like I'm preaching to you guys. It's stupid. I shouldn't do that. So seed column is on the 2 scale. That's closer to enough notes, and that means it's not ridiculous. It's not Dream Theater. Okay, it's not it's not whatchamacallit, that Alien album with the guy with the
Blood Incantation.
yeah, it's not Blood Incantation, right? It's it's simple, despite there's a lot of sonic chaos on it, as we discussed, and it has kind of a schizophrenic nature in the sound. Kind of make you think you're a little bit crazy when you listen to it. But there are not too many notes though. There sure as hell are not a lot of key changes or musical theory involved. Unless you guys think there are, comment down below. I'm talking to them again. It's like you have one view and it's them, on one YouTube account.
Well, minimalism is a choice.
It is, and that's it's a rule for us. But there are lots of notes, but they're all the same notes, so it doesn't mean too many notes.
Many zeros.
Yeah, a lot of zeros. It's binary, so it's not. Doesn't mean there's a lot of notes if you have. Just if you have a lot of notes, it's got to be a diversity of notes. So there seems to be a lot of looseness in their playing. You disagree with that?
I think it sounds like it's trying to be loose, but they are together.
Oh yeah, they're not bad.
I listening, I never felt like it was about to fall apart, but
yeah.
It was definitely giving the impression that if we wanted to destroy everything, we could.
Yeah, if we could just this could just come apart and it'd be fine. But with that, also I feel like bass is not a priority, which is kind of normal for death metal. Like bass is not generally, because when you're playing music that fast with a distorted bass, it's very difficult to get a clear bass sound. In that.
Yeah, with the production, it's like...
Yeah, especially with their specific production,
Who knows?
too.
Who knows what's even happening?
Yeah, is there a bass? I don't know. Maybe they're just... Maybe we use guitar. It used to be a lot of grindcore and death metal just play with guitar and drums, It was like, why have a bass? You're not going to hear it. Who fucking cares? So, did you actually play a bass? Because it says somebody played a bass, but who knows? But comment down below, about your bass playing. Because, it doesn't seem priority. It just seems like, we'll just put a bass because we're supposed to put a bass because the rules say so.
I definitely heard a bass at parts.
There's a bass in there?
But
okay.
When everything's going loud, it was at one of the dynamically low parts, you could hear a bass.
Or when it slows down a little bit. Yeah, they have some slow parts.
Nice, chunky.
Parts where you're going to pick up some change. Yeah, so that's my...
But yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
But, as opposed to Melodic Seer, as chaotic and jerky as the music got, I did... they were together. I found them fairly tight. It was loose music giving the impression that it's loose. We've got some guitar solos on here, but just kind of standard squealy death metal guitar solos. It's not, nothing too complicated or virtuosic. And I like the drums a lot. I found them very dynamic. The music is very focused on the drums, as death metal should be.
Drums have a kick to them. They have a punch to them.
Yeah, they've got a really good punch. It seems like you feel like they kind of lead the band around
They're loud.
very much. And they're also loud. They're louder than everything else.
That's, there's a reason for that.
And, the riffing is fun. It's very basic as well. It's not snobby, complicated riffing. It's, just getting down there riffing. It's fun. And, yeah, moving on.
Yeah, so
right into the fun scale.
Speaking of fun versus focused, now we're gonna give this on the fun side. We're gonna give it a 2, which is close to fun.
Yeah, when I was thinking about this, it was this seems like a band you would see live. It's got a very live feel on the music, and if you go see them live, I feel like you should wear padding or some kind of armor, maybe a gauntlet, because it will be very rough.
A gauntlet of fire?
A gauntlet of fire, perhaps.
Gauntlet of archery, maybe? No, you wouldn't need archery in that situation. It's just
one of their songs is called Gloves of Fire.
Yeah, no. So maybe a gauntlet of fire. I don't know if that's a Skyrim weapon.
Wear your gloves of metal.
Yeah, well, but see, gloves of metal. Just to interject real quick, Manowar has a lot of they talk about a lot of weapons that don't seem to be charmed at all. They're a sword of iron. It's who cares? It's a sword of iron.
What
Everyone
about
has
the magic rings?
Well, they do have magic rings, but most of the things they talk about are just a shield of gold. A shield of gold that's not going to do anything.
That's a really bad idea. That's a
Yeah,
soft
unless it's
metal.
enchanted somehow. But
Okay.
it was, I know about that from Skyrim, from playing
to
Skyrim.
back to the fun qualities.
I have to mention Skyrim and everything.
Siege Column, lyrically, who the fuck knows what he's talking about? Completely unintelligible. We don't know if he's talking about fun stuff or having a good time. But the drumming and the riffing is fun. It is upbeat. It's a good time. Even despite their evil, I mean, the riffs are kind of evil, but they're fun. It's evil fun. Good time. Chaotic neutral, perhaps. If we want to stay in the RPG.
Yeah, they're not lawful anything. These guys aren't lawful anything. Well, what alignment are you guys? Comment down below. I mean, we could assume what alignment you are, but you tell us.
You want to say chaotic? No, chaotic. I don't know. All right.
I don't know.
Let's not dwell on that. But the music's not serious. It's very dirty, and it sounds just more like they're overexcited most of the time. Yes, but it fits in well with kind of that bleeding edge, like hipster, old school death metal.
What if they don't like that? If you say,
I don't care. It's true. And I would say the most song fun is Funeral. The most fun song is Funeral Fiend, my pick for the hit single.
A funeral fiend is a guy that probably likes to go to funerals. He goes to random funerals.
He's fiending for them.
Yeah, like, a guy that crashes weddings. It's like a guy that crashes funerals. But he doesn't go for the free alcohol. He just goes to actually just look at the dead body. It's probably a guy that does that. Are you guys to do that, guys? So, guys, what character would you be in Skyrim? Like, what character were you? What character were you in Skyrim? I know you played it. So, like, what were you, a magic user, a barbarian? Let me know. Comment down below. It's very important to me, Skyrim. So these guys, if these guys played the Meat Locker, which you probably did, I would imagine.
Don't go to that.
I'd probably hang back if I was at that show.
You will die.
I would hang back. I would be like, usually, every time we've been there, I've been up front, and sometimes I regret it, sometimes not. But I give this band because I don't know who they are. I wouldn't have known who they are if they played. If I was going to see some band I wanted to see, and these guys were opening, I'd probably be like, I'm gonna go back there by the merch table, which I usually don't do, but I probably would. So that's a good that is a very good endorsement. Anyone saying that about you, that's like, if I was at this show, I'd probably, like an old guy like me saying, if I was at your show, I'd hang back because I'm afraid I'd get broken bones and broken nose. So that's a good thing. You guys should, it's not a bad thing ever. But there isn't this isn't any more evil than the next band. Like what you guys do isn't really any more evil than any, but it's
got an evil sound.
It's barbaric.
It's not a happy sound.
It's barbaric. Barbarians.
Yes.
I'm gonna hit you in the head with a hammer. It's not evil. There's a difference, just by the titles. And the titles, they're fun to me because
Devil's Knights of Hell.
Yeah, they're like these kind of
evil.
Old school titles. Like those are like parodies or stereotypes of metal music throughout the ages. It's like almost like Fistful of Metal or something. Back in like 1982, you could get Anthrax to call an album Fistful of Metal. Or Manowar could be like Gloves of Metal. It's just, people weren't like, it was like, oh yeah, metal. Metal was kind of like supernatural back then or something. But, but you guys are still kind of with, those kind of classic titles with your songs. So comment down below why you did that.
Lastly, let's look at the album art for a little bit here.
Enjoy. So is this the album art right
yes.
here? So somebody...
it is uncredited. I could not find who did
you guys draw this?
I hope they drew that.
This looks, what this looks like, guys? This looks like, if you remember the game Chiller, remember the game, no, are you guys too young for the game Chiller? There's a copy of it at Barcade in Jersey City, which you probably can't go to right now. But, yeah, and it was a game, it was like a light gun game, a shoot 'em up game, and you had these torture chambers. The game was actually banned back in the day. And today it's like seems benign, but you were like in these torture chambers, and you had to like activate the torture machines by shooting the little gears and stuff, and torture the people to death, and you get more points if you did that. And that's basically that looks like a scene from the game Chiller. I think it is a scene. I think you guys seriously just took the game from the game Chiller.
All right, yeah. It looks like a photocopy.
Is there photocopiers anymore? Do people do that still?
There are photocopiers.
Is it Xerox machines?
Have you never worked in an office?
I don't. But the photocopiers do everything now. They scan. I remember back in the day when they would just photocopy.
If you work in a shitty office where they don't service their photocopier, it looks like that.
Yeah, you don't change the toner. But that's what all copies looked like in the 80s. They all looked like that.
Yes, that was pretty par. So, yeah, I would say that's very on brand. That drawing here is what you will get from this album.
That's DIY. You photocopy. You didn't even like print it like in, some guy has a nice printer. You're like, oh, I'm gonna print these out. Or you're gonna go to Kinko's or something. Is there still Kinko's? Or you go to Home, Office Depot or something or whatever. Whoever the fuck does that these days? A place where you get business cards made, and you just have this thing printed. But no, like it, probably would have looked nicer. It's got that photocopier like ink splatter to it. I like that. It's DIY.
All right, closing thoughts. Fun album.
Yeah.
I liked it. Mr. Skull Crusher, I forgive you for pushing me at the Sacrifice show.
Oh yeah.
And
so, did you talk about that? You didn't? No. Did you?
I don't need to tell that story.
All right. Well, you did.
It's not that long.
You were at that show, and you pushed my wife rudely.
Yes, very rude. So it's okay. I think you were drunk and consumed with metal.
Were you causing problems with those other girls too? Was he the guy?
Oh, that
was a different guy.
That girl chewed him out hardcore.
Yeah, okay.
The other girl was not chill. I didn't say anything to him. I was like, okay, he's doing metal stuff, but like.
Yeah, no, these other girls you're giving a hard time, and they weren't happy about it.
No, they were giving him a hard time.
Well, yeah, we
because he was All right, we don't need to. I wanted to forgive him for this.
Okay, you could, but those girls probably don't do that at a show.
It seemed a little bitchy.
Be cool.
You get the metal show. You're gonna get pushed around.
They're girls. You don't push them. They're up front. Whatever. Just leave them there. Let them be there. Anyway. So yeah, adjust your conduct. That's all for you. So let's see. I wrote a thing here, right?
You just went by it.
Was it at the bottom? Oh, was it at the bottom?
Yes, it was conveniently right there for you.
Yes. So thanks you, everyone. This has been another episode of the Here Lies Metal Too Many Notes music review, and be sure to check out this band, Siege Column. Their Bandcamp and their metal archives. The links are below in the description. So check that out, and make sure to obliterate that subscribe and that like button. And if you want to learn more about more bands you've never heard of, ring that bell, because I think when you ring that bell, it tells you when we have new episodes. Shouldn't do that anyway if you're subscribed? I don't fucking know. So we'll see you next time with another episode of Here Lies Metal Too Many Notes new music review. Goodbye till next time.